Are you serious? Are you serious? I believe you are, and I think I am too. And we've definitely got a lot going on right now. Unbelievable. We have breaking news, certainly, as it relates to President Trump, as his plane went dark. The electrical power in the entire plane went down, went black. And they had to make a turnaround emergency landing. I'm going to tell you all about that and what else is going on. Let me put a shout out for virtualshield.com. That's just plainly virtualshield.com/Paul. Okay. Click on that link below, virtualshield.com/Paul. Patriots, if you're 40 and up and you got a Gmail, you need to listen up, because weeks ago, the biggest email hack ever just leaked over 183 million passwords. Yours most likely is out there right now. It's been handed to the hackers and the attackers and the whackers who steal your social security number, your bank details, even your name, to try to drain your accounts or rack up debt in your name. That's identity theft, okay? Crooks pretending to be you, wrecking your credit, your savings, your life, while you fight to prove it's not you. And here's your fix: Virtual Shield, identity protection. Easily you can sign up. It scans the dark web every day for any leaked info and then blasts the alerts to your phone if something's fishy, like that Gmail breach. And if the thieves strike, you got $5 million worth of insurance that can help cover the lost wages, legal fees, stolen money, plus a 24/7 U.S. experts are handling all the calls and the cleanup. You just relax. They'll even monitor your kids' identities. Find out all about it. Get yours now. Get signed up for it. Go right now to virtualshield.com/Paul. That's virtualshield.com/Paul. You'll be glad that you did. No more waiting. Your family's future depends on it. Eyes wide. Defense is up. Paul Begley out. All right. Okay. Oh, yes. But the beast cometh, that's for sure. And Trump just took on the beast. But before he got there, before he could even get to Davos, after leaving Washington, D.C., President Trump's Air Force One had to make an emergency U-turn with the president on board. I repeat, President Trump's Air Force One had to make an emergency U-turn with the president on board. President Donald Trump's Air Force One was plunged into darkness and forced to U-turn in midair en route to the crucial summit in Switzerland at Davos at the World Economic Forum. The president's jet was heading to the World Economic Forum in Davos when it suffered an electrical fault. The crew of the modified Boeing 747-200B made the call to abort the journey less than an hour into the flight and U-turn and head it right back to the United States of America. Officials said they had to make this decision out of the abundance of caution. Now, the president soon hopped on another plane, which is Air Force C-32, usually used for smaller domestic trips, and he headed back to the World Economic Forum. Other members of the Trump administration that were on the plane, guys, were Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Advisor Stephen Miller, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, Communications Director Stephen Chung, and the Chief of Protocol Monica Crowley. The two planes currently used as Air Force One have been serviced for nearly 4 decades. These the planes are almost 40 years old. That's why President Trump is getting and having a brand new Air Force One being built. It won't be done in time for him, but he's building it for the next president and presidents to come. Again, always thinking ahead, always thinking out in front to try to protect our nation. He's always looking ahead. It's really neat. By the way, speaking of looking ahead, when President Trump got to Davos, he walked in, he got off the plane, walked straight up to the podium, and delivered a powerful presentation, if I have to say it myself. It was incredible. I watched the entire speech this morning. It was an incredible speech. And what he did talk about was things that certainly has to do with dealing with the beast. Trump is not the Antichrist. That's the last guy on the planet. He's fighting that beast. That's why I'm writing my next book called Trump versus the Beast, along with Pulitzer Prize nominated journalist Troy Anderson, and our publisher is Newsmax. And Newsmax has already read the transcripts and understands what this book's all about, and they signed us to be their author for them, and because they know this book will be so powerful in exposing the dark side, exposing the demonic forces of the New World Order, and the book of Revelation, the beast that cometh and is upon us. Okay, but Trump, in his speech today, ruled out using force on Greenland, but calls for immediate negotiations. That's why we're doing this webinar. The beast cometh, and it's Friday. The webinar is Friday, with some of the best speakers we could ever arrange for this subject. Now, Donald Trump ruled out using force to acquire Greenland today. He said, look, I don't want to use force. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So he ruled out using force to acquire Greenland, as he called for the immediate negotiations to begin over the desire to purchase this island, to make things great, and to build the Golden Dome that will protect not only Greenland, but Canada, the United States, and Mexico underneath the Golden Dome. We have to have protection against nuclear detonation and nuclear strikes that could come against the United States. So people thought I would use force. I don't have to use force. He said, I don't want to use force. I won't use force. President Trump said in a highly anticipated address to the World Economic Forum in Klaus Schwab. The United States president said he was seeking immediate negotiations to discuss the acquisition of Greenland, just as we have acquired many other territories throughout our history. He added that the enormous unsecured island was part of North America, and that an acquisition by the United States should not be viewed as a threat to NATO. Actually, it will help protect NATO. Referring to his demands that Denmark cede its rights over this autonomous territory, Trump said, we want a piece of ice for the world and the world's protection, and they won't give it. They have a choice. You could say yes, and we will be very appreciative, or you could say no, and we will remember. Now, Denmark and Greenland have repeatedly said that the island is not for sale, since President Trump first expressed that back in 2019. The speech came amid tensions between Washington and Europe. Gold hit a record high today as the transatlantic alliance plunged into its deepest crisis in decades. The precious metal rose by 2% as investors sought a haven from the geopolitical tensions. But broader financial markets recovered after heavy losses on Tuesday, gaining ground after Trump began his speech. The market started going up because when he started explaining how much the economy has adjusted and is going up, how that inflation's going down, how the price of oil has dropped drastically, which in turn is going to create more prices lower on utilities and even in some of the groceries. But also, as he explained, how that job market is exploding and will be incredible during the next 18 months. The S&P rose by 0.5% in New York while the president was speaking, and the NASDAQ went up by 0.2%. The dollar was flat against the euro, but it has been. And during his speech, Trump appeared to acknowledge that a negative market reaction to the transatlantic tensions inflamed by the Greenland issue. But in his comments that confused Greenland and Iceland at one point, he wasn't talking about Iceland. He said, I want that piece of ice. They think he was confused. Trust me, that man's not confused. Our stock market, he said, took the first dip yesterday because of the Greenland issue, and already has cost us a lot of money. He added that the shift was peanuts compared to past rises and that the stock market had an unbelievable future. He believed the stock market is about to hit 50,000, and he said it is going to double during the rest of his presidency. European governments have not yet decided whether to and how to retaliate against Trump because Trump's threat to impose 10% tariffs on all 8 European states that recently sent military personnel to the Arctic territory. But simmering tensions have been evident in Davos last night as U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick was heckled at dinner after making some combative comments that led multiple guests to walk out. But among those leaving early was European Central Bank President Christine Lagarde, according to people familiar with the matter. In the speech, though, today, the president took a series of jabs at his allies, but he was friendly. I watched it. And he did also recognize how beautiful their nations were and the people, and that how he loved Europe. He said, I love Europe, but it's not heading in the right direction. And he's right. It's a mess. The migration, the illegal migration, and then the open border policies of Europe has destroyed their nations, economies, their housing markets, their debt. It has weakened them in every area. President Trump talked about how that the United States had sealed our border completely, shut it down in the South. And we have deported almost 2 million people, self-deported. And then the United States has deported another 1.5 million, and a lot more to go, including the bad ones. And so Trump ended his speech on a positive note, and the fact that he said, so it's time for us to sit down and to, look, there can be no going back, he said. We're going to seize Greenland from Denmark, but Denmark will be very happy, and so will the people of Greenland, and so will the people of the West, the entire Western world, and all of the Western Hemisphere. He talked about how an overwhelming technology the United States had over Venezuela, and that set the Chinese and the Russians back. He also talked about how we got to end the war with Russia and Ukraine, and how it should have never started and wouldn't have if we didn't have Sleepy Joe in the White House. And Trump said, look, tariffs, didn't want to have to use tariffs, but we really had no choice. We had to turn the economy around in America and strengthen our economy because we had been taken advantage of for decades. And it's just not fair. So we had to level the playing field some, even though it's not even exactly still level. And so he talked about how Denmark didn't even have, and then he talked about Switzerland. He said, Switzerland, you didn't even have any tariffs at all. And you were making $41 billion a year off the United States in trade, this little country of Switzerland. So I said, look, we gotta put a little bit of tariffs on you. We gotta even out the field a little bit. We got to recover some monies that we're spending. He also said that the cost of drugs in the pharmaceutical world was so out of whack, with the United States paying 90% of the total cost of all drugs for the rest of the whole world, and it's not fair. And so there's adjustments going on there using pharmaceutical change of pricing, and the United States would see the pricing go down drastically. So I felt like when I listened to this whole speech, I felt like it was a very, very strong, direct, no punches, did not, he just stood his ground, but he was respectful and proved how much America has done from World War II on to make the world safer and better. But how we've allowed over the years Europe to really take advantage of us in every area, including NATO, and how we've shouldered the load for everything. But if we're going to continue to lead this world and protect it, we have to be a stronger America, and we have to have some help from our neighbors in Europe. And in turn, we will protect you. It's very, very clear. The president did if you want to know it from my perspective, a masterful job of negotiating. He exposed each country's sins, calling out and talking about how they had each of their sins, but telling them how he loved them and that he really loved their leaders. And so he showed the world the strength of America, and he exposed some of their sins This was a form of negotiation. And it was as if he was saying, now come to the table, let's do what's right, or I'll share more stories. And he didn't say that, but that's what I got out of it. It's time to come to the table. You think I'm playing? I got a lot more stories to tell, and I'm sure you don't want me to. So this is a time to sit down and make things right. And we'll be fair. Let's all be fair. So let's see what happens. And he said, it is stupidity. It is absolutely stupid. Oh, and he just said, look, what you're doing, the windmills. One thing he revealed was this, that every time a windmill turns, it loses $1,000. And he said, and don't you think it's strange that China builds all the windmills and ships them to all the world, yet they don't have any in their country? If windmills are so great at making energy, then why do the Chinese not put any up? It's because it's not. The green scam is a disaster. In my book, Revelation 9:11, I titled one of the chapters, or if I did, the green religion, I believe. Let me just see. I think I did. I know I got a big section of it in the book. Now I'm so enthralled with this. Yeah. Chapter 6, page 75, if you have my book. And let me just read a little bit what I wrote. This is in my book, Revelation 9:11, which is the sequel to it is coming, Trump versus the beast. Okay. The Bible says in Romans chapter 2, verses 14 and 15, it tells us that when Gentiles who do not possess the law do instinctively what the law requires, they show that what the law requires is written on their hearts. This leaves us without excuse. Throughout history, most people have believed in a higher power, recognizing from creation that there is a creator in Psalms chapter 19, verse 1 through 4, and in Romans 1:20. The Greeks believed that life and the operation of the universe could be explained by an unbroken series of causes and effects going back to God himself, the uncaused cause, as some have called him. Today, 84% of the world's nearly 8 billion people identify with some type of religious group, including Christians at 2.2 billion, Muslims at 1.6 billion, Hindus at 1 billion, and Buddhists at 500 million. Another 1.1 billion say they don't have no religious affiliation, but this doesn't mean they're atheists. Many of these people believe in God or gods or multiple guiding forces. They just don't recognize Christ as the Redeemer. Now, since 1859, when British naturalist Charles Darwin wrote on the origin of species, promoting the theory of evolution by natural selection, a growing proportion of the world's population has shifted away from the belief in God toward a belief in evolution. This has led to the religion du jour of the 21st century called environmentalism, which is actually a green religion. And so I wrote that to start it off, but then when I get into the meat of that discussion, I wrote this in page 78, because climate change, became really the religion of the world. Well, let me read page 77. Let me read right here. We were on a fast track to a climate disaster, said United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres in 2022. Major cities underwater, unprecedented heat waves, terrifying storms like we're going to have, and I'm going to tell you about here in a minute in America. Widespread water shortages, the extinction of 1 million species of plant and animals. This is not fiction or exaggeration. It is what science tells us will result from our current energy policies. The Earth's climate, he said, has always been marked by periods of warming and cooling. But over the last century, the average temperature has gone up about 1 degree Fahrenheit. This may not seem like much, but NASA says, but small changes in the Earth's temperature can have big effects. However, Global Climate Intelligence Group, a nonprofit, nonpartisan body based out of the Netherlands, recently issued a World Climate Declaration signed by more than 1,600 distinguished persons, including many scientists and Nobel Prize-winning physicists, which said this: There is no climate emergency. Let me say that again. The Global Climate Intelligence Group, a nonprofit, nonpartisan body based in the Netherlands, recently issued a World Climate Declaration. It was signed by 1,600 distinguished persons, including many scientists and Nobel Prize-winning physicists, which stated there is no climate emergency. So the nexus of the green religion and the Great Reset are colliding. As I've mentioned before in the previous chapter in this book, the globalists want people to worship Mother Earth by transitioning from fossil fuels to solar and wind energy, eating less meat, living in smaller homes, 15-minute cities, recycling and driving little electric cars, hybrid vehicles. They're quickly canceling regular people who don't toe the party line, which is all part of the woke agenda, but they don't think it should matter to anyone if politicians and celebrities and other environmental crusaders fly around in private jets, live in massive mansions, and consume inordinate amounts of natural resources. So in early 2023, the award-winning journalist Alex Newman, who I know personally, covered the UN Climate Summit in Egypt, where representatives of major religions, matter of fact, Alex Newman endorsed this book, okay? This is what he said after he covered the historic UN Climate Summit in Egypt for a historic event infused with pagan and New Age spirituality from a moment the attendees got off their carbon-spewing airlines. He said the religious nature of the United Nations Conference of the Parties of 27, or COP27, was embedded into practically everything. Giant posters reading "Welcome to Egypt," "The Dawn of Consciousness," featuring the Egyptian sun god symbols in the official COP27 logo, greeted travelers all over the world, and began to push throughout the entire conference a pagan worshiping global agenda, and all of it on the Green New Scam. You can find out more about how people have literally fallen for this lie. President Trump said, we're tearing down the windmills in America. We're not putting up any more. We're stopping that because they don't work. It's costing us billions and billions. And the Chinese have made trillions and trillions off of us. And we're going back to drilling. And there's tons of oil. And there's tons of coal. And there's tons of gas. And we're going to change the way things are done. People don't want the electric cars. Electric cars fine if you're going to drive and stay in a small little area. Okay, especially down in the southern states where it's warmer. An electric car in the north is really just ridiculous because of the ice cold. Your battery will die so fast, you're not going to get anywhere. And if you feel like you're going to travel and save money on gas across the country, you're going to spend more time sitting there charging it, waiting in line to even get to plug in and charge it, than you will driving. It doesn't make sense. And oh, by the way, if you keep that car 4 years or more, you're going to have to replace that $10,000 battery. There's so many reasons why it doesn't make sense. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on those things. Now, having said all that, let's talk about the storm. Let's talk about one of the worst storms that's going to hit the United States in decades, literally in decades. And what's causing it? There's a solar flare that exploded on the sun. That was that we're just about ready. It's about finished now. There were several earthquakes. There was an earthquake in, of course, Illinois in the New Madrid fault line, a 3.8. There was a 4.9 in Southern California that was so shallow it rocked people. Lots of people felt it. They felt it in Illinois also, in New Madrid. And so what we're looking at now is the storm that's coming upon the nation right now from this incredible weather that's getting ready to take place. A wide-ranging winter storm will produce great swaths of heavy snow, sleet, and treacherous freezing rain and ice storms from the southern Rockies and the plains to the mid-south starting Friday. It will be shifting toward the East Coast through Sunday. So Friday through Sunday will be one of the worst storms, winter storms we've seen in decades. And it will be incredible. Northern Texas, Oklahoma, you're going to get hit so hard. So will northern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, northern Alabama, all of Arkansas, most of Missouri, all of Tennessee, in Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Illinois. And then this thing swings and really is going to go right through the Ohio Valley and really all over Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Virginia, New Jersey, all the way up into New York. Also, the North Carolina and South Carolina is going to be heavily affected by this, and so will northern Georgia. So as this thing swings, and then above that, the northern, up in the Midwest area and the Great Lakes area, frigid temperatures. So this is a storm of biblical proportion. It's going to be incredible amounts of snow. Some of you are going to get a foot of snow. There could be a foot of snow in Louisville, Kentucky, okay, for instance. There will be incredible ice that will be devastating in Jackson, Mississippi. Think about that a minute. And all throughout that belt, okay, from southern Indiana, all that, it's just going to be horrific. So and the power outages are going to happen. Why? Because the sleet and the freezing rain and the ice storms will take down power lines. The power grids will go down. I expect it in Oklahoma. I expect it in northern Texas. I expect it to happen in Arkansas for sure, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia. I mean, it's really, really going to be bad. And so you need to prepare for that and know that that's coming. There's no way to escape it. It is going to be massive storms. And what worries me is I remember a few years ago, I think about 5 or 6 years ago, there was an ice storm that went through Texas that knocked the power out in some places for over 6 weeks. I remember years ago, the same thing happened in eastern Kentucky that knocked the power grid out for 5 weeks. Imagine that in January and February, losing power for 5 weeks. I don't know if that's what will happen here, but I can guarantee you there's going to be power outages. I'm hoping that we can escape it. But if we get the ice and the wind, it will be bad. So pray one for another. It is expected to happen to some areas. And so I pray for your home. I pray for your city. I pray for your state. I pray for anyone and everyone that be in the path of this storm. Pray that it isn't as bad as the media is forecasting it. Pray that God will spare us and it not be near as bad. But we're living in a time where things are going to be very, very, very shaky, okay, as far as the storms go. I think that the sun exploding, that massive solar flares, it caused the earthquakes. It's caused the volcanoes to erupt. It's causing major changes in weather patterns. Also, as Mike from the World's talked about many times, and we'll be talking to Mike tomorrow night about it, how that the atmospheric compression is driving the jet stream closer to the surface of the earth. That's what's creating more stronger high winds. We know Michigan has just come through and still having some horrific snow and wind and whiteouts and drifting snow. And they had a 100-car pileup on I-196. It's incredible what we're getting ready to experience. And you're right. Siberia, Russia, Ukraine has been under some incredible blizzard conditions and frigid temperatures that has been hitting over there in Europe. And so we pray for all of those folks. And of course, we want the war to end as well. So all these things are happening simultaneously. We're going to keep our eyes open as we're watching these things develop. Certainly, we're living in the end times. But as we come toward this webinar, it's Friday night. It starts at 6 p.m. A lot of you are just going to be in. The weather's going to be bad. So the weather's going to be bad out there. Why not be watching this incredible webinar? You can get it. Get your ticket today. Go right now to my website. Go to paulbegleyprophecy.com. Go to paulbegleyprophecy.com and order your ticket today. Guys, seriously, it is going to be incredible. I'm going to be interviewing Mike from around the world, actually. I'm taping that this afternoon with him. Stan Deyo, I've already taped Stan Deyo's presentation. It's unbelievable. He's going to blow your mind about these retrieved crafts that he was brought to see and was part of this team of people to try to figure out how to do anti-gravitation acceleration vehicles. And he's working on it right now. And he shows you what he's working on in this webinar. Also, I'm going to be showing you some incredible new technology for the body of Christ with John, the AI guy. We'll demonstrate it for you. It's amazing. And we're going to be able to provide this. And also, let me just say this. The incredible interview with Agent X on the Mark of the Beast system. Mike from around the world on the Mark of the Beast system. Stan Deyo on the Mark of the Beast system. And I interviewed Daniel Lallemere, who was one of the founders of the blockchain and cryptocurrency system. He explains how that works and how it's tied to the beast system of the end time. He's gotten saved. He just studies Bible prophecy with his very high intellectual mind that he has. It's incredible. Some of the information he has uncovered and the humbleness that he brings it. It really, really is amazing. I just don't know what to say. Dr. Joy, she preaches one of the most powerful salvation messages you're going to hear while talking about Neuralink and the era of the beast kingdom, okay, and the cyber society. And of course, John, the AI guy, is going to show you some new AI technology for the body of Christ. B.C. Begley explains incredible information on the beast system. Guy Morris, studying prophecy by the analytical approach. And then I'm going to take you back in time and you're going to hear the words, incredible prophecies of Dr. Jack Van Impe, Russ Dizdar, and Kim Clement. I'm also going to be giving you my information as well. And all of this, along with Paul Begley Jr. and Bart Begley and all of us together, this webinar is off the chain. I'm telling you now. Get your tickets. Go right now. Go right now. What are we? Just 2 days away? This is Wednesday morning. The webinar is Friday at 6 o'clock. It starts. You need to be binge watching. You're going to be the weather's going to be frightful. So you need to understand what's going on in these end times. We'll keep an eye on the earthquakes. We're going to keep an eye on the solar flares. We're going to keep an eye on Planet X's effect, the 5 waves of energy. We're going to be talking to Mike around the world about these things. It's going to be epic. This webinar will be epic. Get your tickets now. I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back. You can pick up the phone and call and order your ticket right now. Call the number 765-414-2230. That's 765-414-2230. Or click on the link below. Pastor, go right now to paulbegleyprophecy.com. You'll see the beast coming off, trying to come out of the screen. Click it, get the ticket, and get ready. Because we know the beast is coming. And if the beast is coming, Christ is coming. And if Christ is coming, we're getting ready. We're getting ready. You better get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, because the King of Glory is coming soon. But you got to be saved. You got to be born again. You got to be a child of God. You got to be washed in the blood of the Lamb. Plus, we talk a lot in this webinar about preparation, how to prepare for the events that are coming now based on biblical prophecy. You need to know these things. The Bible said, watch and pray, okay? For you know not what hour your Lord doth come. And pray that you be worthy to escape the hour of temptation that's coming upon the earth. And trust me, that hour is coming. I'll be back with more right here on the coming apocalypse.